これが自由になった姿だ。
なんだそれ。お前らの仲間はどうなった？
なんとかなったろ。
Bartholomew Kuma's daughter was born with a disease called sapphire scales, which would eventually take her life if the girl was exposed to too much sunlight. Because of this, she was raised away from any sunlight, unable to see the rest of the world for most of her life. When she was still very young, just like Monkey D. Luffy, she ended up eating a devil fruit. The fruit she ate was the age fruit, which allowed her to transform into a 22-year-old woman or an old woman. This ability could also affect other people, with just a touch of it making them age or rejuvenate several years of their lives. In order for the girl to survive and see the world beyond that small island, Kuma made a deal with his old friend, Dr. Vegapunk, the brilliant scientist of the world government. It is said that Dr. Vegapunk's scientific knowledge is 500 years ahead of the rest of humanity. He sacrificed his body and mind, becoming a cyborg, in exchange for his daughter's cure. During this time, she was quite happy, making friends with Kizaru, Sentomaru, and Vegapunk himself. However, because she was still a child and had misunderstood the situation, the young girl blamed her father's suffering and death on Vegapunk, ignoring the one who would later be revealed as the true culprit for all her pain. During the few years they spent together, Kuma told his daughter everything about the legends of Nika and the belief that one day the sun god would appear to bring freedom to everyone in this world. This belief was carried by Bonney throughout her journey as a pirate. She became increasingly powerful, being the only woman among the supernovas and pirates of the worst generation. Bonney had only two goals throughout her journey: to take revenge on Vegapunk and to find her father, and lastly, the sun god that her father believed in so much. 2 years later, in the Egghead arc, Bonney finally meets Vegapunk. After accessing Kuma's memories, which were in the scientist's laboratory, the girl understands the whole truth, discovering that the greatest genius of all time was not her enemy. He had been responsible for saving her life and was a great friend of Kuma. The girl hugs him and finally feels safe, finding someone she truly trusts. The elder Saturn, who was after Luffy and also Vegapunk due to the betrayal committed by the scientist, arrives on the island and starts a confrontation with the Straw Hat Pirates. The elder ends up capturing the young Bonney and threatening to kill her in place of Kizaru, who had not been able to eliminate the girl. Amidst the chaos on the battlefield, Vegapunk reveals to Bonney that Luffy, the Straw Hat Kid who was by her side the whole time, was the god she had been looking for. This renews the girl's hopes and fills the fans' heads with theories. It is worth mentioning that, at the beginning of the story of One Piece, it was said that Luffy wanted at least 10 companions in his crew. Currently, apart from him, who does not count as captain, there are 9 members in the Straw Hat crew, and it was mentioned that the last one would be Kuma. Since this possibility came up much earlier than expected, it ended up being changed, piquing the reader's curiosity even more. Not long ago, we were already disappointed during the Wano arc, after thinking that Yamato would join the crew. However, with Bonney it is a different case. There are several points in the story that make Bonney the perfect candidate to join the Mugiwaras. Among them, the main one would be having a function. In this case, Bonney would be like Chopper, Buggy, and Yuta herself, an apprentice pirate. Furthermore, I imagine that she is interested in following her greatest inspiration. It is worth remembering that Bonney is only 12 years old, and although Luffy does not mind and accepts that the girl follows him and becomes part of the crew, the other Mugiwaras might not react the same way. I imagine, for example, that Zoro would be against this decision, saying that he hates children and that he wouldn't babysit a brat, which would be quite rude but in keeping with the swordsman's personality. Nami and Usopp could also be against it, saying that it would be too dangerous for a child to travel with them through the new world, especially with the world government and the 5 elders hunting them wherever they go. Cook Sanji, despite agreeing with both of them, would think more about the food, since the two of them could end up eating the food on the ship. It would be hard to put up with another person so similar to Luffy. Our robot Frank would say that he would have to make modifications to the Sunny to accommodate his new passenger, while Chopper would be happy to no longer be the youngest member of the crew. The Skeleton Brook would love to have another companion on board, especially a child like Bonney. Nico Robin is another one who would accept without complaining. as she would find it fun to have the little girl by their side, considering her history of interactions with children throughout the anime. Lastly, we have Jinbei, who, despite finding it quite dangerous and reckless, would end up accepting his captain's decision due to the great loyalty and respect he has for Luffy. Personally, I think Bonnie's entry into the crew would be a very welcome and fun addition to the anime, generating several funny interactions, especially between her and Luffy. What do you guys think? Will Bonney join the Mugiwaras or not? Comment your opinion below, okay? I'm sure she was the wanted one worth 140 million berry. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't forget to click the like button. Your like is very important. That's it, I'm gone and see you next time.